Over the past decade, we have seen an explosion of growth in downtown Detroit and in Midtown. But for many Detroiters who live in the neighborhoods, there is a lot of improvement yet to be made.
Certainly one of the critical issues the city is facing, how to improve the neighborhoods to make sure no one is left behind. We're talking about this now. To join us is Detroit City Council member James Tate and Marvin Beatty, Vice President of Community and Public Relations at Greektown Casino. Thank you both for joining us today.
Yeah, Marvin, let's start with you. What did the panel discuss today?
Well, we really talked about, how do we build on the momentum that has taken place downtown and Midtown? Momentum is what economic development, what building a new community is all about. And we've begun to see that as a consequence of what's happened downtown and Midtown. And then you start to see it up in Northwest Detroit, 8 Mile, when you start to build commercial opportunities for residents to take advantage of quality of life living experiences. And that's what the beginning is. People need to begin to feel a quality of life living experience. When they drive down 6 Mile and 7 Mile in the city of Detroit and they see all these vacant commercial strips, they wonder what possibly could be in my best interest to live in this neighborhood. We've got to do something about those commercial strips that really are really the motivation for people to want to live in a community that has some viability.
Councilman Tate, is this the unintended result of having this booming business going on right now in downtown and Midtown that we're actually creating a rift with the neighborhoods?
No, traditionally there's always been this conversation of the neighborhoods versus downtown, and I've always been the individual that said that any thriving city around this country has a strong downtown. And I think that's very important. But what you're starting to see now is much more of, for lack of a better term, investment from the city and others into our neighborhoods. The bankruptcy that we went through was a very, very tough situation for a number of individuals. It disrupted their pension, it disrupted health care while they're currently on the job. Really, really was painful for a lot of folks on the ground. But what it did do, it has provided us an opportunity to restructure our debt, some $17 billion worth. And so now, instead of us initially putting all those dollars into our debt, and then whatever's left over we put into our neighborhoods, it's actually reversed now. We're putting money into our neighborhoods first, and then we're putting those dollars towards our creditors.
Marvin, you talked about the strip malls and people wanting to live in neighborhoods, but isn't jobs really a central part about all this? We've got to bring jobs into the city and provide them for people living in the neighborhoods, for those neighborhoods to prosper.
Well, all that happens as a result of building commercial opportunities, because commercial opportunities provides jobs. And you look out at 8 Mile and Woodward and you look at the jobs that were created out there, that changes people's lives. That gives people an opportunity really to buy in the neighborhood. But what's more importantly than that is that small business, that little guy who hires 2 or 3 people in his neighborhood, who then goes and buys a place that you can get for a little bit of nothing in the city of Detroit for a short time. Hopefully that won't last much longer. But they can buy a house reasonably cheap and live in the neighborhood that they grew up in and begin to help to rebuild that neighborhood. But I just believe that the commercial opportunity, giving opportunity to the commercial business that is already on these 6 and 7 Mile boulevards, that have been there, and there's a vacant building next door to them, that they have an opportunity to purchase that building through some support from many of these development opportunities that's being provided. They can rebuild those places right next door to them. You begin to see the commercial strip develop in a way that people want to live in the neighborhood just behind it. I think that's the economic development opportunity for the neighborhood. It does take time, but I think that what you're beginning to see is that the refocus on neighborhood becomes really the positive opportunity for the whole city to become one.
Marvin Beatty, thank you very much for your time. James Tate, we thank you for your time also, and we certainly hope that all of Detroit rises together.
Absolutely.